For decades, we have been told the ultimate threat would come from the sky. A missile screaming through the atmosphere, a brilliant flash on the horizon. America has spent trillions building a shield against this one single fear. A shield that is now completely and utterly useless. Because while we were watching the skies, the real enemy was stirring in the deep. A weapon so catastrophic, so final, it was once considered too terrible to even exist. But it does exist. And Russia just put it on America's doorstep. The story you are about to hear has been systematically suppressed. It is a story buried under a mile of polar ice, hidden in the crushing, silent darkness of the Arctic Ocean. For the last 5 years, while the world was distracted by conventional wars and political theater, Russia has been executing the most ambitious and terrifying military expansion in modern history. They have built a network of unstoppable, undetectable doomsday bases in the one place on Earth America is blind, deaf, and completely defenseless, the North Pole, and from these frozen fortresses. They are preparing to unleash a weapon that doesn't just destroy a city. It erases coastlines from the map. It is called the Status 6 Oceanic Multipurpose System. Its public name, Poseidon. But intelligence agencies have another name for it, the Doomsday Torpedo. This is not a conventional weapon. It is a 20-megaton nuclear warhead strapped to a stealthy, AI-piloted, nuclear-powered autonomous submarine. Let me repeat that. Its power source is a nuclear reactor, giving it virtually unlimited range. It can disappear from port in Russia, cross the entire planet underwater, and wait silently off the coast of New York, or Los Angeles, or Washington, D.C. for weeks, months, even years, completely undetected. It is programmed to evade all known countermeasures. It is faster than any submarine and deeper than any weapon we can use to hunt it. But its true terror lies in its payload. The standard 20-megaton warhead is more than 1,000 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. It is designed not for a simple explosion, but to trigger a radioactive tsunami, a colossal wall of contaminated water over 500 meters high that would surge inland for hundreds of miles, rendering entire states like Florida or California uninhabitable for centuries. Some intelligence reports suggest it can be equipped with a cobalt-60 salted bomb, a theoretical weapon designed to produce the maximum possible radioactive fallout. Quite simply, to end all life in a targeted hemisphere. This is not a weapon of war. It is a weapon of planetary extinction. And for years, West's only comfort was that this weapon had no viable forward basing. That has now changed. Publicly available satellite imagery, when cross-referenced with suppressed naval intelligence reports, reveals the truth. Russia has reactivated and massively upgraded a series of Soviet Terra ghost bases across its Arctic coastline. Bases like Nagerskoye and Temp are now bristling with advanced radar, hypersonic missile silos, and most terrifyingly, specialized deep-water submarine pens, shielded by the polar ice cap, America's trillion-dollar missile defense system. The pride of the Pentagon points outwards. Across the Atlantic and the Pacific, it was never designed to look north. It never anticipated an attack coming straight over the top of the world. An Arctic launch route bypasses every single defense America has. It is a fatal strategic blind spot. Russia has not just found a crack in the armor. They have built a fortress directly behind the throne. The Doomsday weapon is in place. The delivery system is undetectable. And the shield we built to protect us is now nothing more than a monument to our own ignorance. So the weapon is real. The bases are active. And America's defenses are obsolete. But the truly critical question is, why now? What is Putin's ultimate endgame? The answer is terrifyingly simple. He is not preparing for a conventional war. He is preparing for a global execution. And he has been patiently waiting for the entire world to look the other way. For the past year, the United States has been stretched to its breaking point. Its attention, its resources, its military might, all pulled in a dozen different directions. Every conflict, every crisis, has been a strategic gift to the Kremlin. The simmering tensions in the South China Sea, forcing the US Navy into a standoff with Beijing. The unending chaos in the Middle East, draining political will and military hardware. The war in Ukraine, a bleeding wound designed to consume billions of dollars in endless headlines. These are not separate, isolated events. They are calculated moves on a global chessboard, designed to distract, divide, and weaken the West, leaving it blind to the real checkmate being prepared in the silent cold of the Arctic. And here's the secret. The Pentagon will not admit. The Poseidon torpedo is not primarily a military weapon. Its true purpose is far more sinister. It is a weapon of economic decapitation. Forget the missile silos in North Dakota or the naval bases in San Diego. The true heart of American power is its economy, its ports, its financial centers, its supply chains. And they are all completely exposed, sitting directly on the coastlines. Imagine this scenario. Not a full-scale nuclear exchange, just one. A single Poseidon drone detonating silently 5 miles off the coast of Los Angeles. The radioactive tsunami would not only vaporize the largest port in the United States, it would instantly sever America's primary trade link with Asia. The supply chain would not be disrupted. It would be annihilated. Or imagine a detonation in the Atlantic, wiping out the ports of New York and New Jersey, the arteries of trade with Europe. The American economy would not enter a recession. It would enter a state of instantaneous terminal collapse. The markets would not crash. They would cease to exist. The dollar would become worthless overnight. This is not war. This is the surgical removal of a superpower from the planet. And the most chilling part of this strategy is that it may have already begun. The unlimited range of these AI-piloted drones means they do not need to be launched during a conflict. They could have been launched months, even years ago. As you are watching this, a fleet of these soulless silent hunters could be patiently waiting in the deep, dark canyons of the seafloor, just beyond America's continental shelf. They do not sleep. They do not require orders. They simply wait for a single, encrypted activation signal to complete their final, catastrophic mission. The threat is not coming. The threat is already here. It is a fleet of doomsday weapons, holding a gun to the head of the entire Western world. And our leaders have absolutely no idea they are even there. This is not a stalemate. It is a hostage situation on a planetary scale. So this is the new reality. A fleet of silent, autonomous doomsday weapons, holding the entire economic and military infrastructure of the United States hostage from the crushing darkness of the seafloor. The immediate question from the Pentagon, from the White House, is, how do we fight this? And the answer is the most terrifying truth of the 21st century. You can't. How do you fight an enemy you cannot find? How do you destroy a weapon that is everywhere and nowhere at once? Any attempt to hunt these drones in the vastness of the ocean would be a fool's errand. Like trying to find a single grain of sand on every beach on Earth, there can be no diplomatic solution. This weapon was not built to be negotiated with. It was built to end negotiations. It was built to be the final word in any argument. It represents a fundamental shift in the balance of global power, a new era of absolute nuclear blackmail. Imagine the next global crisis. A Russian move on a NATO ally in the Baltics. A Chinese blockade of a critical shipping lane. In the past, the United States would respond by moving its aircraft carriers, show of overwhelming force. But now, the scenario is different. The carrier groups move, the diplomats issue their warnings, but then a quiet, encrypted message is delivered to the White House. It contains no threats, no demands, just a set of coordinates a few miles off the coast of San Francisco. And a simple question, are you sure? That is all it would take. Absolute paralysis. The United States would be forced to stand down, to sacrifice an ally, to accept any demand, because the alternative is the vaporization of its own coastline. This is the end of American military dominance. The age of superpowers is over. The age of the super predator has begun. This is the true doomsday. It is not the sudden flash of 1,000 missiles. It is the slow, creeping, silent terror of knowing that an unstoppable, invisible executioner is permanently stationed at your door. It is the psychological rot that sets in when a nation realizes its walls are meaningless and its shields are broken. It is the new, cold reality that the world order as we knew it for the last 80 years did not just die. It was murdered while we were all looking the other way. The freedom, the security, the power we took for granted was just an illusion, and that illusion has now been shattered. The official reports will never tell you this. The mainstream news will never show you this map. Your leaders will never admit to this level of absolute helplessness. They will continue the theater, hoping you do not look behind the curtain, but you cannot afford to be ignorant. In this new era, knowledge is not just power, it is the only shield you have left. To understand the board is the only way to anticipate the next move. To see the threat before it strikes is the only chance of survival. This analysis is complete, but the global chessboard never stops moving. On your screen are 2 more essential briefings. The expansion is happening now. Click one of these videos to continue your briefing. Click the military expansion logo to subscribe. Do not be left in the dark.